to another song title challenge where the question is, climbers, how should you write this one? You've got a title, and typically, not always, but typically the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest way to write that song to make it fit that title is not the best way. It's not the coolest way. It's all about finding the cool angle. This is the difference between looking at a title in your hook book called The Dance, which is whatever, and then writing the frickin' dance. It's right. The angle, man. It's the message you want to say. And when you get the right angle, I think the song kind of starts to write itself. So climbers send in their song titles to info@daredevilproduction.com. Production is singular. There is no S. info@daredevilproduction.com. You got to put song title challenge or STC into the subject line. And then what we do is Brent and I invite a cool guest onto our show here who's a hit songwriter, published songwriter, somebody that's in the dirt, man, up to their armpits in the struggle in the street and knows what to do. And then we flesh out 5 or 6 different cool ideas on how to write this song, right? It's not a co-write in any way, shape, or form. Take all of it, take none of it. We do demand an invite to the number one party. Once again, there's no guardrails on this in terms of genre. This is just a fun exercise. So we can say, hey, this title would be great and write it this way for rock, or that way for Americana, or this way for country, or that way for CCM, or whatever. It's very kind of cool, kind of flow. Am I missing anything, Brent?
Man, that's it. This is just to try and encourage people to dig more deeply into their titles and not just take, like you said, that low-hanging fruit, but just to dig deeper, because sometimes the platinum is under the gold and the gold is under the dirt. So just keep on digging till it gets better and better.
I love it. So do you want to introduce our guest here?
Yes, our guest is one of my new favorite people, and we'll talk about why. So today's guest is a singer, songwriter, and producer born and raised in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. His skills have achieved both local and international success, including a number one record in the Netherlands and Australia, Grammy noms in the UK and Ireland, and over 100 singles worldwide. He's also had numerous placements in TV and film, such as American Idol, Showtime, HBO, Netflix, all kinds of stuff. More recently, he landed a cut with the double platinum selling artist Aaron Goodvin's Boy Like Me. So Aaron's a buddy of mine, so nice. Happy to see that went number one. So congrats to him and you. And our guest also has the current Craig Morgan single, How You Make a Man, which you wrote with Megan Connor, who, man, I haven't seen her in years, but we used to write some, and she's awesome. And Skip Black, which is a buddy, and also just a recent song title challenge guest, so you can check him out a couple episodes ago. Let's see, our guest has also garnered numerous cuts and production credits, including Harper Grace for Curb, Christy Lamb for ABC Records Australia, Viper Creek Band for Universal Australia, Maggie Baugh for Average Joe's, and many more. He ain't just bad, he's global. And he's currently GM and staff writer for Demolition Music. Michael August, welcome to The Climb.
Welcome.
Thank you guys so much, man. That was a hell of an introduction.
Well, that's all you, buddy.
Yeah, you put in the work. I just grabbed it off a website. So, hey.
Man, must have been making me someone must have been trying to make me sound cool at one point here. That's pretty good.
Well, thank you for saying yes, brother. Appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. And why you're my new favorite person is, before we recorded this, we just found out that you're like an OG, like Man vs. Row blog reader. So for those of y'all who aren't familiar with Man vs. Row, that's what my blog was before it eventually became songwritingpro.com. And so you said you read some of that when you moved to town. So I'm just thankful I didn't screw you up. And you've gone on. It didn't get you too far off the rails. So that makes me happy.
Yeah, dude. I was telling you, I mean, shoot, that stuff was like gold when I first moved here. It was like the perfect thing. I don't know who sent it. I can't even remember who sent it to me, but I just dug in, learned so much right off the bat. And that's why it's an honor to be here today, man. Just like, that was like 2014 and we're here now and we're doing the thing. And the knowledge that you imparted back then, man, just stuck with me.
That does my heart so good. That makes this even more fun. I did not know that when we got you on the show, so it's one of those fun small world moments.
My boy Brad, Hercules.
It's like the plan is working. Yes, I will either destroy all the competition by leading them astray, or they will go on to bigger and better things anyway, and hopefully remember me fondly. So, glad this falls into the latter category.
Ready to put the spaghetti in the machine here?
Yeah, man. Let's do this.
This is going to be fun.
All right, so this is from climber Wayne Pope.
Wayne Pope. Hey, Wayne.
Wayne.
And the song title is Sight Unseen. Sight Unseen.
All right.
All right. Sight Unseen. Writing this down here. So again,
my hot
any
take on
genre,
this,
anything. Yeah.
I kind of like this title. Like this makes it very interesting for me. Like I want to hear what they're going to write about in this title. I don't think I've heard this title before, and I can think of a couple different ideas just right off the top of my head and how it could go. So one thing is like I don't think I've heard it before, so now I'm interested in it. Number two, immediately a couple ideas pop in my head. So now I'm interested just to play it and see what the writer came up with from a publisher standpoint. Like, did they do something different here? Or is this are they going to bore me with low hanging fruit? How do they spin it? Right now, I'm interested. So I'm kind of stoked to see what we come up with in this one.
Yeah. One thing I like about it as a title, it's not one that I can think of that I've heard before, but it's definitely a phrase I've heard before. So which is cool. I don't know immediately, like I don't feel like I've already heard the whole song based on the title. So I'm like, what could that be about? And it has like a nice E sound at the end, which is plentiful rhymes. If I'm going to rhyme that hook, which is also nice, right? I was writing with the guy yesterday. I was like, oh man, how are we going to rhyme with Jesus? There are only so many things that rhyme with Jesus. So unseen is...
But Jesus.
But Jesus. Right, exactly. So he sees us. Yes, he does. Anyway, so I like that. That makes it a little bit easier. Like, okay, I can see at least we have options. First thing I think of with it is normally you buy something sight unseen.
Right.
Like this is the first thing I think of is like, I looked up the car, saw the ad or whatever, called them up. Hey, I'll take it sight unseen. But it's probably not a song about like the Ozark Trading Post or whatever the local trading kind of newspaper is.
Yeah.
So like if a question seems to always be, how does it relate to life or love? Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's gotta be something about, I do like, there's some sort of cool play between the opposites in the title itself, sight and then unseen is interesting. Yeah. I'm just looking at the definition right now, and it's without the opportunity to look at the object in question beforehand. So, and I do like where you're going with the buying thing. Yeah. First thing I think of, I almost wonder, it's like, going to be like, yeah. And so then I don't know, she's selling a truck and I called her up and whatever, you hit it off over the phone before I'm even on the way to buy it. But I'm like, yeah, I'll take it sight unseen. I'll take it.
Okay, I got something.
And then it's a love thing. Like, oh, look, we fell in love. Yeah.
I got something. Okay, so
Rom-com.
This would be from a female perspective.
Okay.
So I got two ideas. One's from the female perspective where basically she's just talking about how she's so in love with this guy that she's with that whenever he decides to pop the question, she's going to say yes before she even sees the ring.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And maybe it's like, it could be, you could really do some visual, puts a lot of furniture in there with, and it could maybe be, it could be from the guy's perspective too, where he's like, so then just how you're building up and you're nervous and to that moment where you're going to give the ring and maybe all the trouble and trials and tribulations that you went through to get the ring. And then before you even opened it, she said yes. And it's just such a cool, kind of a cool sentiment. You know what I mean?
That's cool. That's cool.
And then the other thing I was just thinking about, just to plant this seed early in the show here, is what else could you put before unseen? So it could be like a listicle of this unseen, that unseen, sight unseen.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll come back to that. But when you talk about the girl, that made me think about maybe this girl that's beautiful. And she wonders, like, would he love me sight unseen?
Ooh, that's cool.
And you might even do that like third person. And she wonders. Yeah, how would he feel about me sight unseen?
Dude, that's cool. That kind of almost makes me think when you were talking about the ring, where I thought you were going to was the idea of like a couple that maybe it's new, but they're like falling hard fast, right? And they don't really know each other's. So I was thinking about my heart. Like I've got flaws, I've got scars, I've got all the crazy past, whatever. But will you take my heart sight unseen?
Oh.
Just because of that kind of love it first thing right away.
Yeah.
Don't we kind of, in a certain way, don't we always?
Yeah. There's always crap you don't show on the first
That's so true.
years worth of dates.
right?
So
Yeah.
And so, hey, it could be a metaphor for faith. Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
oh shoot.
Who's seen
Yeah.
Jesus?
Right. Yeah. Sight unseen.
Wait, that's a great. Yeah, you're right, man. That's a great Christian way to take it too. You know, I believe sight unseen. I think that's a pretty cool, dude. That's a pretty cool idea, man. I definitely.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of ways to go the Christian route. So that could be like a Southern gospel thing. That could be a
Yeah.
CCM kind of thing, a country Christian thing, bluegrass. Probably a lot of ways to kind of serve that up. And if I missed something, it's because Zencaster kicked me out and I got back in. So
Actually, we didn't skip a beat. Like, you were fine. It was like really kind of cool. Like it
just in
you
case.
came back in just like it never happened.
That's what I do. Well, when you don't pay attention to people very well, yet you still need to hold conversations, but your mind is all over the place. I have a lot of practice with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've been married for a while and you're like, oh crap, I need to respond to that. What happened? Anyway. So yeah, I like the faith aspect of that. That's cool.
That's my favorite one so far, the faith aspect of it. Yeah.
Okay, we can do the money grab. The money grab idea could be, I mean, talking about a truck. Like, maybe it's just like the coolest old whatever Ford truck ever, and so you heard from a friend who heard from a friend who has whatever a 1976 F-150, and you're like, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Just 'cause it's so cool that whatever. That could be a stretch.
I mean, and that could be the old school story way of writing the song too. It's like you start with the truck, the kid buys the truck, sight unseen. Eventually you go to the diamond idea that you had, or kind of tie in a few different things with it.
There you go. Yeah, like he gets the truck sight unseen, and then it's a blind date that he goes on with the girl, and then she says yes, sight unseen on the right. There we go.
No, here's where you land. Right? They find out they're pregnant, and they love that baby, sight unseen. Can't see the baby yet.
Wow!
But they're already in love, and that's the whole thing. Already in love, sight unseen.
That's good.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, yeah. So that could be a thing. That'd be fun.
There's that already in love, sight unseen. That just
exactly.
Happened. That's just
there you go.
I'll pick that up off the floor. I'll pick that up off the floor. And put it on.
You dropped this. Yeah.
That could be the winner, dude. That's like a buddy of mine just wrote a song. He just had his first kid. It was like the idea was like meet you. I can't wait to meet you idea.
Yeah.
And just like, but I love this title for that. Already in love, sight unseen. That's great.
Yeah, because that's how it is. That's true.
Yeah, so you're saying spin it like that. Like maybe it's like he just sees her across the bar and because you hear so many stories about like the first time I saw her, I said to myself, I'm going to marry that girl. Right.
Yeah.
Like, so it could be that thing. Like I was already in love, but I guess you did see her though. Right.
Yeah. That would be the tricky thing about how do you fall for the girl kind of sight unseen or something. The baby thing makes tricky. Sense.
But the kid idea is so money. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. So it's, because I was thinking too, like, okay, how to make it like a life song thing. So it's the baby thing definitely hits that. But also, like, don't we all have to kind of buy into our lives sight unseen? Like, we don't know what the future holds, but you got to buy into it. You may have a vision of it. You may think you know what it's about. None of us really know. Is there a way to like talk about, you got to buy in sight unseen? We don't know we don't know what's around the bend.
Dr. Martin Luther King stated that you cannot see the whole staircase of faith. You just have to take the next step.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah. And so like we all have to buy in sight unseen. And so you can but the whole thing of like buying in, like I'll buy it, falling in love, sight unseen or whatever. Like you got to commit sight unseen to your life. Otherwise, if you're not really committing, you're not really living. And if there's a way to kind of do that kind of thing.
I like the buy-in alliteration on that too, like or the meaning of that. Like that's a very common sort of phrase. Like, is everybody bought in?
Yeah. And you like buying a vehicle sight unseen. I'm going to go pick it up. I haven't even seen it yet.
Or corporate. I've used that phrase when we're talking about whether or not a record deal can be a blessing or a curse. Like if you don't have the whole label bought in, if they're not buying into the artist, then you got a problem, because if you're one champion gets hit by a bus or more likely goes to another label, you're screwed. You just became the redheaded stepchild that nobody wants to love.
All right.
I love the thought of just jumping back to the other thing, like the Martin Luther quote you just had, Martin Luther King. I feel like that aspect of sight unseen, where you're taking the next step kind of blindly in life, no matter what, that could totally work in also the faith-based version of this song, where it's like you're leading to that you believe in God, sight unseen, but also you're believing the part of maybe the chorus or the verse of that idea could stem, got to believe in the plan, in the bigger plan, in the next step, without knowing that next step and just trusting. I feel like that's just meat on the bone for that version too.
Yeah. That is.
And Brent, and just one other metaphor that you always bring up when I bring up the Martin Luther King thing, you just talk about like when you're going from point A to point B in your car at night,
headlights.
you turn your headlights on, but they only show 50 feet out in front of you. You can't see the whole road, so you just got to have faith that you're gonna navigate that dark place in sight unseen, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. There's still going to be road there. It's like, yeah, you can't see the whole overnight trip, but you can just see as far as the headlights, but you can make the whole trip that way. I think of adoption too, like maybe because there's the pregnancy thing, there's the people buying in on the kid that maybe they haven't seen them yet or something, or the kid waiting on the parents, maybe he hadn't seen them. Like they say, I'm getting this thing and I'm trusting sight unseen, which could also lead into the faith thing.
Yep.
So a lot of these could, I don't know, intersect, I guess.
There's also, cool. This is probably not the way to do it, but if you wanted to look at it like the literal.
That makes me want to hear it more.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, the literal way, if you took the words literally, like that's a sight unseen. Like that's a sight, like a place you'd never been or something. No, I don't know. I'm just spitballing, but just the literal.
Once again, heaven, a sight.
Yeah, heaven. It's a sight unseen.
That's a great call.
Yeah, or too often that's a sight unseen. That way we don't have to worry about like what are things that really have never been seen, but like too often, if you ask me, that's a sight unseen. It could be people loving on their neighbor or honest politicians or whatever, you know. Yes, maybe too often that's a sight unseen.
I like that.
That's really cool.
And what if, and the other side of it too, like, man, I wish I could unsee that, or I wish I hadn't seen that. I wish that were sight unseen. Like, I wish I could leave that sight unseen. I could leave that sight unseen.
That could be fun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, wish I had not seen my girlfriend out with another dude out. Like, what?
Dude,
or that text pop up, or wish I could leave that sight unseen. Like,
yeah.
And
like
now I hate that person.
I know.
Sight unseen.
Like, I wish
it's like, I don't know who that person is, but I hate them. That's the other person. So that could be cold.
I love that.
That's so, dude, that's cool. Okay, that hits me in the feels because I dated a girl one time and I had a altercation with her, like incredibly abusive ex-boyfriend, right? And I remember, this is so strange, but I remember how cool I thought those new Dodge Challengers were, badass Dodge Challengers when they came out with them. And he was driving one. And now I can't stand the car because of that. Because of the whole application, every time I see it, I just think of him, and I'm like, I'll never get that car. Like,
yeah,
it's just so yucky to me now.
That's funny. So this is definitely rabbit trail, but there's an old song by Mark Wills that he cut called "I Hate Chicago," and the whole thing is I hate the Cubs. Well, of course you do.
I'm from
he's a Packers fan, but. It was like, I hate Chicago. I hate the Bears. I hate the Cubs. I hate all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I hate that guy, Tony, that my girl left me for. And guess where they live now? Kind of thing. I hate Chicago. Anyway, rabbit trail.
Funny, dude.
I wish I had left that sight unseen. You could go too, maybe this probably isn't the way to do it, but if you kind of hype up like the whole story of a blind date from the perspective of the story of your friend trying to sell you on the blind date. Like, I'm supposed to buy into this girl sight unseen. I got all these other things I can do, but what a sight she was to see, kind of a thing. Like,
yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
She goes up on a little twist on the words, maybe. Might be too cheesy, but.
Or even like, I liked you better sight unseen. You actually looked better on paper.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Man.
That could be a metaphor of life. I mean, I don't know how you pull that off, but there's a lot of people out there that are searching for the wrong thing. You know what I mean? They're looking at the paper and they're betting on sight unseen as opposed to just kind of taking it, letting that river flow, letting the game come to you. You know what I mean? And maybe that's the angle too on the life thing. Back to that again. It's just like, man, let the game come to you. Like, if you plan too much and then you get all pissed off because it didn't work out the way you planned it, you're missing the fun of the ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you just gotta. What did Garth Brooks say? Was that song like The River? I mean,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
from that perspective, kind of a thing.
Oh, I love that, man. I love
That is cool.
that's great.
You got to take life sight unseen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about marriage too. Like you can, even if you live together, it's still, you're just taking it on faith. You don't know what the next 40, 50 years are going to hold, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like life, but it's just like a smaller segment of it going, you really ultimately, yeah, she may be beautiful, but you really got to buy in sight unseen. Maybe that's a twist. Like she may be beautiful, but really it's what you can't see. You got to buy into what you can't see.
What you can't see.
Oh, that's good, right?
You're still
there,
you
dude.
still, I don't know. Because that could be.
Dude, that's real. So Janelle and I have these conversations like all the time. And she's like, what's going to happen to me? Like, what am I going to do if something happens to you? And I'm like, well, first of all, I'm not a soldier. I'm not a NASCAR driver. I'm not a boxer. Like, I'm not doing anything that's terribly dangerous. I said, what are you going to do if aliens come out of the sky and take a shit on my head? Like, what kind of conversation is this? You know what I mean? Like, but I think that's a real worry, right?
Yeah.
And maybe I think people think about the kids too. They just worry about that. And so it's like, you just gotta, it's kind of like that faith thing that could be applied to so many things. You just got to trust, right? You don't have any choice but to be vulnerable, right? That could be that twist. Like, because when you get into that long-term relationship, when you get into that marriage, when you give your heart to somebody else, you're now permanently vulnerable and anything can happen.
Yeah. That's great.
Right?
That's
so
true.
That's a fucking scary place to be. Sorry, forgive my French, but
yeah.
It's so true, man. And we take it's like even down to the day to day. You're right. Like we take every day sight unseen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like just little things like showing up, Michael, you saying yes and showing up on the podcast, and we don't know what the hook's going to be. And every song you write, you don't like, how are we going to write this? I don't know. I've never written this song before.
Right.
Like, I don't know exactly how this one's going to turn out. I've never written it before. We're all saying yes and step into the unknown.
I got it. Just all on the same thing. I just went down small rabbit hole a week ago of like these crazy videos that aren't that crazy, but they're a video of somebody that was taken just moments before they died.
Oh, wow.
So maybe it's like a live like you were dying kind of a thing because to your point, like it's sight unseen. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You could get hit by a bus.
Right.
Yeah.
You could get cancer. You could get all those things. So you've got to take it sight unseen. You don't have any like embrace the sight unseen. How do we say that?
Yeah. Well, it goes back to the dance, right? Now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. So take it from me, buy in sight unseen. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it could have that kind of context of it, of like, I'm glad I bought inside unseen. Like it has, I mean, what if there's this whole metaphor of the, I don't know, grandpa's truck kind of thing handed down? Like, yeah, I bought this, and what would be grandpa's age at this time, like 1970 something, sight unseen. And yeah, it had a few dings. It's got this stuff going on, but man, it's been great. And then also, man, it's the same way with your grandmother. She looked beautiful, but all the stuff that we didn't know about, there was hard times and we were each flawed and blah, 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 but we bought inside unseen, not really knowing. I'm glad we did.
Great.
So it could be that life stuff, but there's something to me intriguing too about like, she's a beautiful woman, but you're still buying inside unseen. Like there's,
that's great.
like you got to be in it for what you don't see. Don't think you're seeing. No, it's still sight unseen. Like, no matter what. Like the truth of that person, for good or bad, right? Because we're all a mixed bag.
Yeah. What's beneath the surface is really true.
Yeah.
Anything else? There's like,
that's what's fun. Is there probably
killer freaking looks at it.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a lot of killer looks.
You could always do the compliment thing, which would be the shallow, girl, you're a sight unseen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I never laid my eyes on such a beautiful thing. That kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen this and I've seen that. Girl, you're sight unseen.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that one a lot. Yeah, it's just like you're above all else. Like, you're the bag. Like, wow.
And what if you're telling the girl that you'd love her even sight unseen?
Oh, that's
because of her innard qualities.
Yes.
Of her innards.
Of her innard qualities. Like, yeah, every guy in here wants you, but I love you sight unseen. Like, because we got this history and I know who you are. and I'm the only guy in here who loves you sight unseen. Like, yeah, you're beautiful, but they just love you for that. I love you. The other things too.
Yeah.
That thing of you got to balance it saying you're super sexy, okay? But I'm the only one in here who loves you sight unseen or something. It could be kind of cool.
That's awesome.
So that's like a simple commercial right down the middle, probably make the girl feel really good. It's like, what does she want to hear? It's like, yeah, you're beautiful, but I love you for who you are, not just what you look like.
Yeah. I love it.
So that'd be a meatball over the plate. I don't know. Wayne, this is where you got to pick one or none of them. So
is Wayne listening right now?
Hopefully he sent it in. Hopefully he's listening to this episode when it drops. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
when it drops, I'm sure he'll be listening. I'm sure he'll be listening when he sees that title. He'll be like, "Wait a second,
that's my title. That's
my
great,
title."
dude.
That's a side I've seen.
Or he'll be thinking like, "What son of a bitch sent in the title that I had?" And I'm like, "What the hell?" And then, oh wait, that was me.
Awesome. Oh man! Now I can't wait to hear what you do with it, Wayne. That's gonna be sick.
Yeah. Please get back to us and let us know. There's been multiple times, Michael, where we've done something like this, and then it sparks some energy, and a climber will reach out to another climber, sight unseen. Hey, I know how to write this. Can I write this with you? Like, I know what to do. Like, it's so cool. Like, let's write this. We had one that was super fun. It was called The Request, right? Which is just about as bland as The Dance. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the way the idea we kind of came up with amongst many, but the one that I think hit the chord was, what if it's just picture you're touring country guy trying to break through, going from place to place, doing the covers and the tip jar and the whole thing, packed houses. And he gets that $50 tip. So he gets it, and it's from his wife. Right. Mm-hmm. She's out in the audience and she's like, I don't want to hear this song. I don't want another this or that. I just want you to come home.
Oh,
yeah. And it was like, so, and they really did a great job writing it.
That's great.
So, yeah, it's fun. So sometimes that happens.
Craig and Tracy on that one. Yeah.
Damn, absolutely. I love that.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for saying yes, man. It was a pleasure having you on the show. What great fun this is.
Oh, man. Dude, this was great. Sight unseen. I bought in immediately.
There you go. Exactly.
There we go. Well, guys, that takes us to the end of another killer song title challenge. Send your titles, as many as you want, into info@daredevilproduction.com. Please put STC or song title challenge on this subject line, because I need to get it in the right folder. If you don't, it won't. And then we'll make sure it gets a shot. And who knows, maybe you're going to get some big badass here like Michael August going to help us flesh this out and give you a good direction on how to write your song. So this podcast exists because we want you to win. So keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.